Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hearing you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Happy New Year. This last trading day of the year for all intents and purposes.
Yes, it is. Still a full trading day tomorrow, but TopstepTV will be off. Dakota's doing slow markets tonight, but then after that, TopstepTV programming is going to be TopstepTV reruns, some of the best segments on psychology that we've had throughout the year. So if you are trading tomorrow, you can still tune into TopstepTV. We will be having that running. Some great psychology sessions over the year that we've had, some with Dr. V, Robin Dane, Brett Steenbarger. So some really good stuff on Topstep TV tomorrow if you are going to be trading, but we will not be trading live. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experience, share some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. I just thought about it. It just triggered in my head just now. We've been doing that at the buzzer for almost a year and a half now. My New Year's resolution for 2026 is to change that intro. I think at this point, they know who we are. I think I'm going to change it. I'm going to try to figure something else out. But we appreciate you all being here each and every day that you are. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you. How was your day, Coach Paul?
Very slow. I made one trade.
Nice.
And stayed out of trouble. I didn't really plan on trading. There was a setup. I took it and made a few ticks, and I walked away. Now, how about you?
Had a good day. Took a short silver early. We could talk a little bit about that trade, but took a short in silver and long gold, and tried to short gold earlier this morning during fast markets. It did not play out, stopped me out a couple times. And then eventually that trade played out towards the end. So I caught a little piece of that towards the end. So actually kind of active, but mostly in the metals, right? Really not looking at the equities. The equities really didn't give us a whole lot to look at. And we kind of talked about that earlier, but let's take a look. Turned out to be a pretty good day. Let us know in the chat how your day was. You're up on the day, down on the day, anything that you learned from today. And we'll take a look at the markets. We did have some news out. Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
I would add one thing to that, Coach.
Yeah, what's up?
Let us know how you did this year, or what you learned this year that improved you as a trader.
Good point. Richard Harris says, I closed red for second day in a row, consistent at least. As long as it's measured, Richard Harris, as long as it's measured. Let's see. We had some numbers come out. U.S. Red Book year over year came in at 7.6%. Case-Shiller came in at 1.3%. Forecast was 1.1%. U.S. House Price Index came in at 1.7%. Month over month came in at 0.4%. Forecast was 0.1%. Chicago PMI came in at 43.5. Forecast was 40. And then we had the FOMC minutes. Not really anything new from those minutes. Anything you see on the news front?
Nothing really. And it was reflected in the equity action, at least. So staying out of trouble was my theme for today.
Nice.
So, and in the news, there wasn't anything to move it.
Yeah, agreed. So, we got Dan Trader in the chat, says, learn that risk management is the holy grail to trading. 100%, right? If you don't have an account to trade, you cannot. You can make $1 million today. If you lose $1 million in one tomorrow, you're not profitable, right? So learning how to have an account, to stay in an account, is extremely important, right? I think everyone here has what it takes to make a winning trade. If you read Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas says that, right? It's anyone can put on a winning trade. Doesn't really take a lot of skill to do that, but to maintain an account, it definitely does. So let's take a look. Yeah, go ahead.
That's different. Risk management difference between being lucky and having a skill.
100%. 100%.
So great lesson, Dan Trader. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, share it in the chat what lessons you're taking from 2025 into 2026. Again, I don't really like making the New Year's resolutions. Every day is its own day. You got to approach it as such. But I think what I've learned over the course of this year is eliminate the marginal trades. That is the mode of operation going forward. A marginal trade, don't take it. That is not to say that any trade that doesn't guarantee winners, right? But it guarantees that the trades that I am taking are measured and I can repeat. If it's marginal, shout out to Vinny, who I was on air with today with JD. He said, if I have to ask myself, is it a maybe? It's probably not a trade, and that's really what the focus is. There are some clean trade setups, but it requires patience. It requires waiting for the market to tell you it's time to go, especially for day trading. And when I focused on that this year, my trading went very well. When I did anything else and was trying to force the market to do something, I don't trade an account that's big enough to force the market to do anything. Uh, so I have to get in the flow with the market, understand when the flow is moving, and then go from there.
Yeah, to me, the discipline comes from the decision making to execute a plan. And when you do that and you really review those marginal trades that we talk about,
Yeah,
results improve.
100%.
Difference between trying to make money and executing an edge.
100%. What do we got? I will learn my lesson again today. That's very good. Thankful it wasn't in my XFA. Ems is saying, never make an assumption, and whatever worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Prep your assumptions, but once it's live market, what I believe doesn't matter. 100%, right? You have to have a game plan, right? Every professional athlete, whatever sport you play, there's a skill that they have and they've developed over time to be able to play the game. But on any given night, they don't know what type of game they're going to see. Right? You might be a basketball player that, hey, you know what? No one can make a shot today, but we still got to figure out how to win this game. So I got to make sure I'm good on the defensive end, right? And getting stops and finding a way to score. Or it could be, hey, this is a really high scoring game, and I need to be able to adapt to that as well and play in that environment to try to win. Ultimately, the goal is to try to win. You don't get to decide what type of environment you're going to get. You can make assumptions, just like with the equities, we made the assumption that this week was probably going to be pretty range bound. So my goal, if I'm going to win the game, is to operate in a range bound market.
Yep.
Paying
And
attention to what the
every
market wants.
game is a different matchup. Every game is different. Every day is different.
100%.
So operating with principles gets you through.
100%. Let's take a look at the quote board. We got 36 different markets we could trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we have wheat futures down 0.54%, the Russell down 0.7%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside, down 0.73%. To the upside, we had copper up 3.27%, platinum up 4.25%, and silver, our biggest percentage mover, to the upside, up 8% on the day. To talk about our big four, we may have needed to adjust the big four even, but we got the S&P down 0.13%. Gold up 0.44%. Crude oil, skipped crude oil, down 0.25%, and the NASDAQ down 0.2% on the day. We are going to start with the metals. Let's take a look at the daily. What are you seeing on the daily here in silver? Also, this is the last at the buzzer for the year. Do we want to look at yearly charts or monthly charts?
Let's look at monthly charts.
Let's do that.
Since this was the biggest mover of the year.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do monthly or yearly reviews of a lot of these markets. We won't get into the weeds of what happened today. The markets moved today. They moved up, they moved down, they moved all around. But let's take a look at some of the yearly performances for some of these markets. Again, these are adjusted charts for rollover. So we're going with the charts that we have here on Topstep X. If you look at a different market, if you look at a different chart, they show you something different. But the one thing we're going to measure is percentage moves, right? We did this last year or 2 years ago in Discord, and comparing the percentage move of the market to if you traded that market all year, what was your performance like? And of course, futures are leverage instruments, so you can compare against that. But let's take a look. Where is that price measurement tool?
You don't have it in your tool book?
It's somewhere. Yeah.
That thing is handy. I use it a lot.
Someone in the chat knows what I'm looking for right now. And price range. Here
Oh,
we go. Price range. That's what I'm looking
there
for.
we
All
go.
right. Price range. So what I'm going to do is go from the open. So silver opened up this year $35.05. We do have one more trading day tomorrow, but of course we're not on Topstep TV, so we're just going to measure to the close right now. 142% on the year. A lot of that move obviously came in the last 3 months or so, but 142% on the year. If we look at this, Coach Paul, this move really started getting going in September when we saw 85% of that move. But a huge move here in silver. Coach Hu put up a poll in the chat earlier today, and he was talking about, hey, what was your favorite markets to trade? Was it the equities? Was it the metals? I think the metals made a case for being the MVPs of 2025.
Well, when it would talk about last year, I didn't hear anybody prognosis that silver was going to triple in price
No.
or go up 2.5 times. And why I bring that up is it's very tempting to make decisions out of a predictive mode.
Yeah.
Yet, but being an observant and following a trading plan with set rules, you can take advantage of a move like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. There was no one predicting this, but markets develop.
Correct.
And we talk about this all the time on this show. There's an opportunity somewhere.
Right.
Developing a skill with its basis in risk management and the consistency, you can become a trader, a disciplined trader in any market. So what a move. Is it over? I'm not predicting.
I'm not ready to say that.
I mean, I hear people talking now, 100's not full enough, 200, which
Hey, if it's
from
going
my
to keep
years
moving
of
like this,
experience, yeah, it could keep. Can it keep moving? It could. But when I started hearing all the chatter of crazy prices,
yeah,
it's a red flag.
it might be over, or the end is
It
near.
might be, and I'm not. Yeah, it's a crowded place,
Right.
but what a move! There were some fortunes made there, and some fortunes lost.
And just looking at it, right, and this is where Coach Paul just said it. We say it all the time in the beginning of our show, in the intro. Our goal as traders is to identify opportunity and see how we can take advantage of these opportunities. This market presented an opportunity this year. I just measured the past couple of years. Last year, 2024, silver had a 14.85% move. The year before that, negative 0.5%. The year before that, a positive 3% move. So is it a market that I'm going to trade all the time if it looks like this? Probably not. But when it starts to present opportunity, that's where I think as a trader, it serves you well to identify that opportunity and see how we can take advantage of it. Obviously we're day trading here at Topstep. But once it starts to move like this, there's one side of the trade that's probably presenting more opportunity than the other side. And if you can identify that and take advantage of it, and that's why we do what we do, and we'll continue to do what we do even through next year. If a market starts to move, you're going to hear us talk about it. And we try to talk about it as early as possible so we can try to catch some of these movements. Trader X says, I lost my XFA after a payout due to silver. Congrats on getting a payout. But it's a market that you definitely need. We see it with the margin requirements increasing. You definitely need a buffer to be able to take a look.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach.
And we brought that up. I want to say it again. It might be, it's almost getting priced out, and that's part of the function of markets.
Yep.
Especially in commodities. There's an old saying: the best cure for high prices are higher prices, and it's part of the auction process. It cuts it off. You find alternatives to stop using it, or you welcome production.
Yeah.
At this point, why I bring that up is even the micro might be too big to trade.
Yeah.
Could be time for the nano.
Right.
If you're listening there at the CME, COMEX, or someone will, someone will probably tokenize it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that should be me.
Don't give out too much sauce, Coach Paul. All right, here's gold. I know it's Hoag's MVP of the year, up 55.6%, $1,560. Started the year on the open. Again, these are adjusted charts for rollover. Started the year 2986, ending the year up around 4,300. We still do have one more trading day left on the year, up about 55%. Obviously, silver, the 142% move in silver. It started off a lot lower, but gold, I mean, what can we say about gold? We talked about it all year. We had this consolidation that we talked about earlier this year that we sat in for a really long time. And once we broke out of that, we're still in that second leg of this run in gold here. Give me 1 second. I'm just pulling up another platform. Did I get signed out? Yeah, I did. All right. Give me 1 second. I'll sign back in here.
Not supposed to be talking about that, Coach.
But yeah, here we go. We got a huge run in gold this year. Again, I think continuing. Pretty interesting. At one point, there was a lot of conversation about, is this move over in gold in the middle of the year? But this 3-month Dolby Dorito that we had, once we broke out and we talked about this, it was going to continue. And, do we trade up to 5,000s next year? Is the run going to stop? Gold is a different one, where this run has been kind of 2 years now. This started early 2024 and has been a really nice run from there. Anything you want to say about gold on the yearly, Coach Paul?
Yeah, that how many days? Was it 90 days?
Yeah, it was about 3 months.
A quarter of the year, it went sideways.
Yeah.
And we're talking, look at that. Those are the only selling months. Maybe February was tiny, but that's how a good trend works.
Mm-hmm.
Patience. I would say this: if you were selling gold and you made money, you're a damn good trader.
at all this year.
At all.
Yeah.
So the easy money obviously was buying gold, quote unquote easy money. I don't know. I've never come across easy money, but unless you're winning the lottery,
right?
But that consolidation, remember that those things we talk about can last, but when they break out, either side, they're usually explosive, and we witnessed that.
For sure. Just looking at it, this is just for shits and giggles here. We'll just take a look. If you bought on the opening print this year in gold and rolled over a 1-lot till right now, in the big contract, that's $171,000. With a micro, it's $17,000. Right? If you bought on the open and are closing that trade right now after rollover and all that other stuff, and again, these prices are roundabout numbers; they're not exact. But again, in the market, that was up about 55% on the year. Really nice move in gold this year, and I'm excited to continue to trade it through next year. Even though today. And maybe when I look at this chart, I shouldn't be shorting gold. I did make some money on the short side today, but it was it required patience for sure. Anything else you want to add on the gold market or any of the other metals, Coach Paul?
Nothing. Well, let's look at platinum.
That might have yeah. Another one where look at platinum the years prior. This is going back to 2020. This is just flat.
Probably beyond that.
Right. And not presenting opportunity, but once a market changes, 136%. 136%. A lot of this move, obviously, we just saw in the last couple of years. Environments change and they cause markets to do things that, could be. I'll ask you, Coach Paul, you've been trading for a while. When's the last time you saw metals move this way?
1980, when I first started as an 18-year-old.
We're talking about these could be once in a lifetime opportunities in some of these markets. And, you have to decide whether or not you're going to take advantage of those. And like we said, it could be expensive to take advantage of those, but we are seeing movement that is not normal and doesn't happen, especially in commodities, uh, too often.
Yeah, I'll give you one big difference
Mhm.
fundamentally
Yeah,
is that the move in the silver and gold was based on leverage.
mm,
This move is based on resources, like in the cash.
got you.
And there's a new player. China wasn't involved in any way capacity that they are now.
Right.
So on that part, yeah, this can continue.
Yes, it can.
Um,
You could probably hear.
someone's having fun.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
Playing with the dog over there. I don't know what's going on, but she's having fun.
She found some gold.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Platinum. If you held a platinum contract all year, high to low, about a $66,000 move. Uh, and these are just we're rounding. These are averages, somewhere around there. We import 85% of our platinum, says Courtney. 55 times says $36 trillion US debt. Yeah. So
Yeah.
see what we can do to figure that
And
one out.
not only U.S. debt,
Yeah.
this
Everyone's in debt.
European,
Everyone's in
China's
debt.
got a large, Japan, and in that we've had artificially low interest rates.
Yep.
Sorry if you don't want to hear that, but there's a great book, The History of Interest Rates. It's a little dry,
Yeah.
but
It sounds like a riveting read.
it is actually it is.
I'm sure it is.
It-
I'm sure it is.
and, there was a span here the last 10 years where it was the lowest in recorded history on a relative basis. There are penalties for that. That's why paper fiat money is so, and it's not just the US.
Mhm.
And if we would look at this chart, we don't have a dollar index, but the most dramatic movement has been made in metals. The currencies are kind of stale.
Yeah. Yep.
So what is that telling you? It's not just a US dollar thing. It's a world, like who's going to who's going to print money the first. So the trust, and we've talked about this. The trust in the system is collapsing.
Yeah.
And that's from the central banks who know better than you and I.
Right. We're just trying to take a couple of scalp day trades here, but I
Yeah.
think it's interesting to do this to kind of look over the markets. Just real quick look at copper, 32% up on the year. I think copper is a very interesting case for next year.
Have
If-
we did we close above that? No,
No,
tariff
not yet.
tantrum.
I think this
Watch
is a
that.
very interesting market going into next year. I feel like we're going to be talking about this same way we're talking about silver and platinum and everything else right now. But we'll see. I don't get to choose that. The market's going to choose. All right, let's take a look then at the equities. That's what we know most of our traders trade. Taking a look at the NASDAQ, we know in the equities, the beginning of the year,
There's
honestly, we were
the
talking
mother
about. Yeah, go ahead.
the mother of all tales.
Yeah, we were. There was at one point we were talking this year. It looked pretty ugly. We were down 22% on the year, bear market territory. I remember saying, at what point do we start talking about this potentially being a red year? I was wrong, but it didn't look great. It didn't look great. Of course, we had the president come in and say, now's a great time to buy stocks. The NASDAQ up about, and these are futures, up about 15% on the year. I could take a look at the underlying.
It's about the same.
It's about the same, right?
It's like 15 or 16.
15%, right. So right around there. 15% on the year in the NASDAQ. Let's take a look. I'm going to pull up if you held the NASDAQ and you were able to hold through that drawdown, it's $85,000 move with a one lot mini. Max drawdown. At one point, we were down 22%. So really nice recovery from that low. If you bought when the president said it's a good time to buy stocks, you're happy right now. Up about 50% from those prices. From this low, we're up about 50%, but it's a tough way to make 15% on the year sitting through that drawdown.
Coach,
What's up?
that wick, as we talked about the mother, was also an island reversal. That month, if you put a circle around it, it's all by itself. That is one of the most bullish or bearish formations. Remember that formation. And I've never, and I don't ever, maybe it's there, I haven't looked, never saw anything like that on a monthly chart. Sometimes you see that on a 1 minute, 5 minute, 30 minute.
Right.
But on a monthly chart,
yeah,
remember that formation.
100%. Interesting chart there. Hey, what a wick. That is a J trade. That's the highest volume monthly candle that we had the year. We closed above it, and a really nice rally from that point. Let's take a look at the S&P really quick. Similar story here in the ES. We opened here 12%. 12% in the S&P. Go a quick run through these. We'll look at the Dow.
6%?
About 10%. 10% from the open to today's close. And our friend the Russell. Right, the Russell is up on the year. 8%. 8.25% in the Russell. So all of the equities up, right? If you're looking at your higher time frame, your investments, they're probably looking good right now. If you just held on, I know my cousin called me in April, and his coworker was on the other side of the phone with him, and he's just like, "Should I sell everything? Should I sell all my investments? Everything keeps going down. I don't know what's going on. They're ruining the market." And I said, "Probably a bad idea. If you're going to look at this 3 months from now and wish you still had those prices, just hold on." I try not to give out financial advice, but I'm very happy he didn't sell down here and look to buy back later, because you didn't really get an opportunity to buy back later and just locking in some losses. So all the equities up on the year. All right. We went, got to talk crude. Got to talk crude oil. If you made any money in crude oil this year, good job. Crude oil down 10%, $6, down $6 on the year in crude oil.
$6.
We saw a $6 candle in crude oil this year. Yeah, we saw a 1-day candle, June 23rd, that was bigger than the entire yearly range. So when
I look at this thing and I'm like, look at the VWAP. What is the monthly?
We'll pull up a VWAP for the year. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up a VWAP for the year. It's a flat line.
All right. Now, what's the ATR for the monthly? Is this monthly?
This is a daily.
Let's look at the monthly VWAP. I mean,
monthly ATR, $9.
$9. All right. I know what I'm doing. First, I'm buying straddles.
Yeah.
When we just talked, we saw all these commodities exploding, except for crude, which could be artificially kept down by overproduction.
Right.
If this baby unleashes $9, we could see that in a week.
Oh yeah.
So to me, the risk is on sale. And don't take this as investment advice, trading advice, but this is compressed volatility in one of the most volatile markets that commodity markets there is.
Right.
No one's talking, and we shun it. We're just.
It would be like talking about platinum in 2022.
Yes, that's what I'm getting to.
Right, like it would be talking about platinum all last year. Oh, it's gonna do it. It's gonna move. It's not doing anything. Uh, so if you didn't hear us talk about crude oil much this year, again, we had a daily candle that was larger than the entire year's range. What can we do with that?
How do you calculate ATR? It's calculated by summation of the last 14 candles
Mhm.
and divided by 14. Um, it's really simple. You
Yep.
can check it out on Chatty G if you like, but that's the objective. Is it's dynamic and it's present. In other words, you're not trading the volatility from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's in the present state.
Uh, and if you if you have the ATR indicator, you don't have to be great at math. It just shows you value above my head right here. Shows you right up there. If I hover over the candle, that's going to tell me the ATR as it changes. Let's take a look
All right.
at another market that Coach Hoop, cattle. Take a look at cattle really quick. I'm just trying to go through the biggest hits. Cattle up 25%, 26% on the year. Uh, Made new all-time highs at one point this year. Saw a little bit of a pullback, saw a limit down day. Pretty wild market in cattle. And it kind of looks like
It still looks bullish to me.
yeah, it looks very bullish. Looks very bullish. Any other markets, Coach Paul, that you could think of that you want to talk about for this year that made some significant
Bitcoin.
moves? Yeah, Bitcoin. This might be the
That's
one.
this is the one that was supposed to be the most volatile.
Right. This might be the one that I think everything we've talked about so far was up on the year, right?
Yeah,
This is the
I
one.
think it's
And crude oil, Bitcoin and crude oil, down on the year, down 12.91% on the year. And it made a
that's
new all-time high. Hit a new all-time high. At one point was up 25% on the year, but we've seen a 35% correction from that high, 30% correction from that high.
and look at this. I'm looking at that monthly chart. We
Mhm.
have continuation. The
Yeah,
highest volume on the sell side, and we're closing below that.
right.
Hmm. Not, I mean, it's a very disappointing action. Not that it finished lower on the year. I'm not talking, but with the explosion in the metals
Yeah,
and flight to quality,
right,
I'd imagine Bitcoin feels a little shunned, like it wasn't invited to the party,
right.
um, and sulking. That's not. I expected more out of Bitcoin, as far as performance,
Yeah,
and this
it was really
so
the last 3 months, right? After everything sold off in the beginning of the year, Bitcoin, just like the equities, rallied, but it didn't hold that rally, right? The equities are still pretty close to their all-time highs, and Bitcoin is 30% off of its all-time high. Um, Again, ending the year in the last 3 months gave back the move for the entire year and back to where we were March and April, right around that 88,000. So we will see. Going to be an interesting market going into next year. I heard somebody say today that the trade is, and again, this is not financial advice. I just heard somebody say this. You buy Bitcoin in January and sell it in October. And if you did that this year, if you bought it in January and sold it October 1st, you made 13%. You had a little drawdown, but you did make 13%. You could have sold it at the highs. But again, that is not financial advice. That is just what I heard somebody say. All right. Any other markets we want to talk about, Coach Paul? Oh, speaking of currencies, Japanese yen it wasn't down too much this year. Seemed a little heavier. Still down on the
yeah,
year, down about 3%.
it's got more to go next year.
Down about three and a half.
I don't know. That's not a prediction.
Yeah.
It's just a smart ass comment. Um, what about the Swiss franc?
We could take a look at that. I wanted to pull up the euro because I know how closely correlated that is to the dollar. We don't have dollar index charts, but we could take a look at the euro. It's pretty much an inverse of the dollar. The Swiss franc up 10%, and I looked at the dollar on TradingView. It's down about 10% on the year. Here's
And
the
that Swiss franc came in the beginning of the year
Yep.
and installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is looking pretty good up here. A little flagging pattern, maybe.
Yeah.
Swiss franc, and then let's take a look at the euro. Pretty closely
That's
correlated with the
impressive.
dollar.
You talk about consolidation.
Euro up about 10% on the year also.
All right. Is there, well, let's ask, we've covered almost everything I can think of.
Everything I could think of, yeah. Oh, I mean, we could look at Ethereum. Down
It had its
18%.
moment in the sun, but
Yeah, it did. Made new all-time highs too, but rejected. Any other markets you guys want to go over? Again, we only do these once a year. Uh, just reviewing how all the markets did. One of the things that we did, and we're doing a little bit of an abbreviated version of it, but one of the things we did, and I think when you first mentioned this 2 years ago, Coach Paul, doing this is look at the market that you trade every day. What is your performance in relation to that market? Are there things that you could improve or not, right? Are you doing better than the market that you trade every single day? And assessing whether or not you should be continuing to do what you do or not now. One of the things that we talked about when we had that conversation before is, yeah, the Nasdaq was up 15%. If you're trading a prop firm account, let's say you're trading a 150K account and you have a $4,500 drawdown to start, you could make 15% in a year. I mean, sorry, you can make 15% in a day on
yeah.
a $4,500 account, right? $4,500, 15% of that is $675, right? So now, what we have the ability to do as futures day traders and the leverage that we have is to make outsized returns on it, and that's probably why a lot of us are trading futures, right? Because of the leverage, especially at a prop firm, the leverage that you get. There's also the potential to lose as well. But I saw Rips post this today actually. He was posting like hedge fund returns. Shout out to Rips. He had an amazing day yesterday. But he's posting hedge fund returns, and they're happy with 12%, 15%. Of course, that's on, and that's a big year, right? And that's on a hell of a lot of money. What he said is like the cool thing about being a trader is that you could do that in a day. Right? On his account, you put up about 400 grand on a $2 million account. That's what's possible here. But I think we have to also still have reasonable expectations for what we're doing here, right? If your goal is to take a $4,500 drawdown or $2,000 account to $1 million in a year, think about the percentage that you're talking about doing that, right? Somebody could do the math. If I turn a $4,500 account to $1 million account, Coach Paul, what percentage is that?
If you turn 100,000 into $1 million,
No, if I take a $4,500 account, $4,500 drawdown, right, 150K account, $4,500 drawdown. If I take that to $1 million, what is that percentage wise?
oh wow, that's
What do I got to
good
do? A
question.
million divided by
I, I,
4,500, right?
yeah, it's like
Times 100.
1,000% or 2,000%. It's insane. Yeah,
What's that equation? It's the bigger number divided by the smaller number times 100. Is that right?
yeah. If you look at,
At 22,000%. Is that what I'm seeing? Is that correct?
yeah, it'd be something. It's insane.
Right. Right. So, and again, I put a million out there, right? 222x, right? I put a million out there. Maybe that's not your goal, but think about that percentage wise, what we're asking ourselves to do, and then have reasonable expectations. Yes, we want to compound these accounts. We want to continue to grow these accounts. Maybe you can copy trade and go from there. But 22,000%, right? And a lot of people are trading like they're trying to make that 22,000% in a day, right? We looked at these markets over the course of a year. It took the Nasdaq an entire year to get up 15%. And again, we have the potential to do that with these accounts that we trade in a day. So if you can really slow yourself down, compound over the year, then as your account grows, as you continue to grow, as you continue to take good setups and follow a process, then we can compound. But I think it's important to not have any one day be an outlier over the course of the year. because usually that's an outlier to the other side. Anything else you want to say here, Coach Paul? Any other markets you want to take a look at?
Well, the grains. Wow. There's a reason we're not talking too much about it. Dead. Now, there was a trend in the soybeans. Okay, it's a 20, by the way, 4,500 into 1 million. I just asked Chatty G.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say, 24,000% total return.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it'll happen for maybe one person out there, 1-2 people, and that doesn't mean people are going to hear that. I remember somebody earlier this year, they were like, "Oh, you guys are so negative, right? We should talk about the potential to make money in this thing." There's a lot of room between 4,500 and $1 million, right? There's a whole lot of room, hell of a lot of room for you to have a good year. And Big Sexy is saying $200 investment, combine costs $200, 100%, right? So now you're even talking about a $200 investment to try to make $100,000. It's the same percentage, right?
Well,
same
two things is,
and how many people are just buying one?
To do that, you have to have a skill.
Correct.
You have to develop that skill. The only one I can hear that came close to that, it was in my belief, the greatest futures trader ever, Richard Dennis.
Yeah.
Who turned like $4,500 into 150 million. That we don't know the whole thing, but he did that in about 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
But when he started, he blew out a couple times.
Oh, you're going to?
Yeah. Now, he's the king of the ATR and risk management.
Yep.
Now, when you get, but, those numbers, it creates these, what I call the Ferrari fantasy that I had when I started trading, because I knew I got to meet him, and I knew his turtles.
Yeah.
And I was like, I started when I was 18. I'm like, oh man, as soon as I'm 21, I'm going to get on. I'm going to start trading, and if I'll get the red Ferrari and perhaps the yellow Ferrari too. And I'm not here to discourage people. But
no, not at all.
Without a trading plan, without risk management, you can't do it. With it, I mean, there's a possibility.
There's definitely a possibility. I think it's okay to have, what might seem like outsized goals, but if there's no plan for how you're going to get there, then it really is just a pipe dream. It really
Larry
is.
Williams,
yeah,
another one, great guy. I got to do some of his business when I was a broker. But he had wild swings too. So learning how to trade comes with some bruises.
Yep.
I mean, read with Market Wizards. Just about every one of them had to take a beating. Then they respected the leverage, and they turn it into a money-making machine.
Yep. Big Sexy in the chat says, Rip started the year with 100K and finished at 2.2 million. 15 years of experience. That cannot be discounted. That cannot be discounted. And again, shout out to Rips. I talked to him a little bit last week, or a week or two ago, in his chat, but he's just executing, right? But that's 15 years, and I think what's really unfair is if anybody tries to compare themselves to that. Use it as motivation for sure, but if you're 6 months into this, understand that it took a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and he's talked about it plenty of times himself. Extremely talented M, and it shows you what's possible from the markets. But I think what's important to understand is that doesn't have to be everybody's story. for you to have success in the markets either, right? You get to define what that success looks like for you, and have a process to try to get to what that looks like for you. Uh, but anything else you want to talk about, Coach Paul? It's been a good year. This will be the last at the buzzer year. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Before you go, I want to throw a shout out to you, Coach Jay. Truly enjoy working with you in this segment. You know, I've learned from you, and I've gotten better on volume. You're one of the best. I also want to give a shout out and a happy new year to our loyal followers. I saw so many good stories from some of our regulars, and that's why we do this. So for the new ones, everyone develops some type of routine. And that routine is rooted in risk management and consistency. You can do it. If you're struggling, learn to struggle well, learn from those losses, and improvement. And I wish everyone a happy and prosperous 2026.
Awesome stuff. Coach Paul, as always, we've been doing this for 2.5 years now, but it's been great working with you this year. Looking forward to continuing to do so. I learned from you as well. That white line on my chart would not be there without learning from you. And anytime I get into a trade, even when we trade together, the first thing I think of is, okay, I like the setup. Where's the risk? Right. And you can take whatever trade you want as long as you understand and can accept the risk. And that risk should be able to fit in your account where if the trade is wrong, you can continue to trade. So shout out to you for that, Coach Paul. I'm sure all of the chat can name something that they've learned from you this year. We'll continue to do this. Chat, thank you as always. If you haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe. Tell your friends and family too as well, and we will continue this thing. And Coach Dakota is doing slow markets tonight. That'll be the last Topstep TV show for 2025. So make sure you join him and Barron tonight. Coach Hoop is off tonight, but I think he will be doing a session tomorrow, I believe he said. So we will see you all in 2026. Have fun out there. Enjoy whatever plans you have for New Year's Eve. Be safe. Don't do anything Coach Paul wouldn't do. And
don't limit yourself.
Right. And we will see you all soon. Have a good one.
Right.
If you trade tomorrow, trade smart. Don't do anything crazy. Don't try to make up that 22,000%. Don't try to do it tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen. All right, but we will talk to you all next year. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
If we get to enough likes, Coach Paul will give out his pivots in 2026.